Whoops. Liage.
That's not how you spell that, Rob.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Is it a V or a U?
Easy now.
Piaget Polo. 79.
How do I do this? I forget. It's been too long.
I don't know if you guys noticed in
Yes.
the it'll probably take a second. This is the same thing that happened last time.
There's a decent delay.
Brendan, so a bunch of people from the live that are always in commented on our story. So I noticed Brendan Cunningham, Dr. Lehman, and probably a few more, I don't remember, all commented their favorites of the year.
Saying that they...
On the Instagram?
On the Instagram.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll look in a
So
minute.
the people are following us, yeah. There were a couple of good ones on there. Huge respect to the guy who said 5960p gray dial.
I honestly have not looked
He's
at these
getting
yet.
a shout.
Let's take a look.
And I mean,
5,004.
yeah, how do you
That's
top that?
solid too.
That's such a good watch.
Adam, in the question, sorry, refresh my memory. Question was,
What is your favorite watch?
favorite watch of the year?
Of 2024, and it could be something you bought.
Could
It
just
could be
be
something
something was
we
released,
had.
something
It
we
could be
had.
something
Okay.
released. It was
Cool.
very wide.
I like
I
it.
said what got the most wrist time, what you wore the most in the year. Like,
That must
204G.
be the green, right?
I gotta look. I don't know.
I think that's because the white gold. The first time they did the white gold, I think, is the green, because they didn't do a white gold silver. They did a platinum silver and a platinum black.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 001. Okay.
Yeah. Also good.
have the live up?
I do. Yep.
I'm
I'm watching it like from like my personal channel just so I can.
Do not disturb.
Oh yeah, good call.
How long ago was Borat?
That was probably 20 years ago, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a long.
I think I was in college. So
I
that would
think
make sense,
I was,
right?
it was, I think I went and saw it the summer between my senior and freshman year of, like,
Yeah.
senior year of
yeah,
high
so
school.
I would have been
freshman
in
year.
college. Because,
Yeah.
like, I was listening to a podcast and, like, somebody says my wife, and the first thing one of the other guys do is go, my wife.
course.
And it's like, how is that still relevant?
Well, it's not, Rob, but
But it is.
it's so burned in our brain. It's funny that you know it, actually, yeah. Have you seen Borat?
And the second one sucked.
There was a second one?
Yeah, there was.
I didn't even know.
The first one was. It was
First one's
iconic.
iconic, yeah, amazing.
Between Borat and Anchorman, like,
I mean,
that was the memes
that's
of
pretty
our...
much all of our quotes, yeah.
Yeah, that's everything.
I said my wife for like 5 years straight.
My wife. Yeah, I mean, it's like... And the first one in is Dr. Lehman.
Of course.
We're doing pretty good.
I know.
How are you?
What else we got here? Lots of good stuff
This
that
is
people
really
got from
good,
us.
the Baby Le Mans, as people like to call it.
This is, yeah,
That
yeah,
is
I know.
a really
on
lovely
the,
Daytona.
on the Oyster Flex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's amazing.
He actually, so he...
5085 1J. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Is
with that funky
did he buy it from
dial.
us? The Japan dial?
I don't know if he bought it or if he
That's-
is just saying it was the favorite watch that we had.
Oh, okay, fair.
Because we left it somewhat ambiguous, so it could go either way. But it was a stellar watch. I didn't even know.
Yes.
I didn't even know that existed till we
Justin
had it.
still has the green bathing suit from Borat.
It was yellow, but yes, I do have it. Wasn't it yellow? Was it green?
Well, actually,
Well, okay, mine is yellow. Zach with 54438.
yeah, I don't know what that is either. I didn't look it up.
Huh. Interesting.
Is that the gold blue?
Yeah.
That was really pretty.
pretty, yeah.
I actually, you know what's funny? I actually thought about that. I thought about that, and I thought about the Reverso Art Deco. Obviously.
Of course you did.
Like that was in
I'm
the
surprised
running.
you didn't actually wait. Did you pick your for the year? Oh, you did. Yeah.
I did. That should be a honorable mention, reasonable mention.
Wow, really?
It's like the most
Dude,
passive-aggressive
I'm not,
thing
I'm not
ever.
gonna say it now. I mean, I'm not gonna say it because we'll do it live. But your favorite watch that we sold. Interesting.
What were you saying about the kids?
Is it a hot
Interesting.
take? What do you think?
That's a hot take. I didn't think you even liked that.
I do like that.
I didn't like it, but that's
Really?
okay. Yeah, no. Whatever. It's okay. We'll get there.
Hello, Rohit. Good to see you again. All the usuals checking in.
I know, I
I love it. 59-59. Strong contender.
Yeah, I mean,
First time we ever saw
agreeing
that.
with Albert. Yeah,
Did we have the Zywork Honey this year?
I sold it to him. Yeah, this is my client.
Well, My client.
My client. Great watch. Great watch. Great watch. He did a nice trade for that.
Oh, they were
Yeah,
so
agreed.
untouchable. Like
But
when they
they're-
came out.
Yeah, but now they're much more reasonable. He bought it second half of this year when it had basically not come down, but
Yeah.
it had stabilized.
But I mean,
kind
like
of.
at retail, if you wanted one of those, they were just telling like good clients. They were like, no.
The 001, is that?
That's the gray.
That's the gray?
That's the classic, dude. That was
No, I know you love that. I
It's
don't.
it's such an
No.
important watch though. If you think about Patek and what was it, 07, 06, that was a more groundbreaking release than what they did last year.
I agree that watch, the reference itself is incredibly important for Patek, and it's one of my favorite modern Patek references. That is
Really? No, it's not. I've never,
It's not,
like,
but
you're so full of it.
I love that watch though. I love that watch, but I do not. I think the platinum is the worst variant of that watch.
Oh.
Give it to me in steel, black dial, baby, all day. I would
Steel
kill
white
for that.
dial,
No.
sure, but
Tank Louis extra plate 95065. I don't know that one.
Philly dinner time is also a good.
I didn't even read that. That's
is
great.
also a good
username. Yeah, I
username.
like it. Cool. Lots of good stuff on there. Nice.
Go to our inventory, see if we had a 95065. Maybe that's a new release that we have not had yet.
I don't think so. No.
Maybe let me see if my search game is better than yours.
Wait, where did my chat go? Wait, did you disable the chat? Adam?
No, it's back now.
Okay.
They must have changed the setting.
Dr. Landon, are we giving away a Reverso? If only.
If we were, I would rig that one. Sorry, that
For
would
yourself?
be rigged. Oh, we've started.
We're live.
We're live.
No, it just went off.
If you Google just 95069, you get a Kenosha drain cover.
I don't think that's what that gentleman was referring to. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Horological Happy Hour. I'm Justin.
I'm Rob.
I am very happy to be back. It's been a while.
The return.
Yeah, my triumphant return here.
It is good to have you back.
Good to be back. Fun show to come back for. We decided to look back on 2024. We want to talk a little bit about some of our favorite watches, what we consider to be some of the most interesting watch stories from 2024, our favorite releases, what got the most wrist time for us, what our favorite watch that we sold here in the store is. And we kind of want to talk with you guys too. We, on our Instagram page, we asked, we put up a story asking, what your favorite watch of 2024 was. Lots of people reached out, so we'll go through some of that stuff. But we want you guys to jump in the chat and let us know as well, call out what you guys think as well. So
Yeah. And if you were at home watching and you were in the chat, you would probably say, please like and subscribe and hit that little bell icon so that you get notifications when we're going live and when we post our other videos.
See, I'm out of practice, dude. It's been too long.
And my glass is empty.
I know.
Not only
More importantly,
are you out of practice, but my glass is empty.
Robert and I are keeping it absolutely classy today. We're going back to the old standby. Lagavulin is really our standby, but we're going to go with some Oban today.
Brendan's happy to see you back.
Some Oban 14. Brendan, thank you, buddy. Good to see you too. Appreciate you joining us again.
I hope you are enjoying the Blancpain swatch Scuba and the book.
That's right. I heard that you won
That's
the
why
book
you said,
and
guess
the
what I
watch.
have on the wrist.
Nice. There we go. Let me make sure I pour myself more than I poured for you.
I mean, you are sleep deprived, so
I am.
Nothing makes that better than alcohol.
Yeah, that'll really do me a lot of good. All right, cheers, buddy.
Ching ching.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate it.
Yes, happy New Year.
So I thought we would intersperse things a little bit. So we're going to talk about news and releases. Then we might show some cool stuff on the table. Then we'll go back to news, and we'll bounce back and forth.
Yep.
So feel free if you guys have questions or thoughts about anything we're talking about. Make sure you do jump into the chat. I don't know where we start because we have so much stuff on this list today.
Why don't we start off with some of the basic stuff? Like, let's go over what our watch of the year was, what watch in our collection got the most wrist time, and then the favorite watch that EWC sold this year.
Cool.
We'll start with those three. You guys go ahead and jump in and let us know what what your choice is as well, and we'll try and chat it up and
Ted
get to everybody.
approves.
Ted approves of what?
Ted approves of our wardrobe today.
Oh, well, thank you, Ted, for the tie. 'Cause this is this completed the look today. So all right, so Rob, what was your watch of the year? And this is it can be. I mean, I looked at it as like a new watch that came out this year.
Like the actual favorite watch of 2024.
Correct, exactly.
Not, because we've narrowed the scope here for while we talk to you guys about this. And so for mine, we haven't officially seen one of these yet. So I'm going to pull up a photo on my phone and just throw it under the wrist cam.
Okay.
But my favorite was the Piaget Polo 79 reissue.
Such a wild choice for you. I love it. I'm fully here for it. But that is a bonkers choice, my friend.
I think 2024 was fairly sleepy in terms of releases.
Well, this list that we have says otherwise, but okay.
There's a lot of stuff that came out, but it's like, okay, they did a yellow gold Le Mans. They did Le Mans in yellow gold. It's very cool, but it didn't knock my socks off.
Okay.
They did a full gold Sea Dweller. Very cool, but obviously, not for me. The Cubidus, not for me. There was like a lot of that kind of stuff. And so, that Piaget Polo 79 was like, it's kind of like the Bulgari Octafinissimo stuff. Like, I never thought I would care about a watch with Bulgari on the dial.
Okay.
And you could say the same about Piaget. Like, there wasn't much. The Altiplanos are super cool. I really like them.
Yeah.
But there was nothing that really was like, man, that would be sick.
I understand
and
that.
when I saw that
jumped
Polo
out at you,
and they went back full tilt into like 1980s, glitz and glamour and overconsumption. Like, I love it.
Dude, that watch screams greed is good at the top of its lungs. It's insane.
Unapologetic. It's crazy. It is true to the original. I love it. I think it is obnoxious in all the right ways. It is.
You know what's funny? Well, you know what else is obnoxious is the $79,000 list price, I think, on that guy.
And it's funny, Brendan just said the same thing.
Oh, there you go.
It is tremendously expensive.
Yeah.
And that would be my womp womp that goes with my choice, because I don't think I'll ever own one at that price. But it's sick.
I'd love to see one, honestly. I mean, so it's funny, Albert, owner EWC, he has we have a bunch of watches that hang out in the safe that, they might not, over the years they're not quite right for EWC, for us to retail. And before that style of Piaget came back around, there is a vintage one that has lived in his what we unkindly call the melt box, has lived in his safe for years now, for as long as both Rob and I have worked here.
Yep.
And it's funny to see Piaget reach back into...
That one might be quartz, though.
That
I
one
think
might
that's
be
why
quartz.
it's sitting in there, because I think it's quartz.
So-
but it's just... I think all that retro 70s, 80s stuff is coming back in a big way, and I'm here for it.
Yellow gold, it's back, buddy.
If that was like day-date money, I would buy that over a day-date.
Wow, whoa, that is a hot take right there, dang. You know what's actually, I think I mentioned it to you, Colin Jost from SNL, he's got a pretty good watch game, and he's worn one of those on the show for Weekend Update. He did his comedy special, and it was funny. I think I sent a screenshot to you because he was wearing that Piaget.
Oh yeah,
it was wild.
You did.
It looks pretty cool in person. I mean, in person. But all right, interesting choice.
Can you scroll back up? Is that an option? Oh, nice, excellent. Pocket squares.
Ellie, don't push it. Don't push it.
Okay, go down. We did kill the bottle, so Oban, if you're watching, we could use a re-up.
Yeah,
no, go back up. I want to
empty.
see the people who were saying. So, like, somebody mentioned the Moser Streamliner blue enamel. That looks really, really cool.
It does.
I really want to see one in real life because I haven't seen one yet. I would consider that at 24 because I don't think they were delivered until 24, even though they were announced late 23.
Grant P calling out the Cartier Tour 2 Monopusher reissue. That's actually one of the pieces that we have on our list for just like favorite releases of this year. That whole line, that whole Tour 2 line was really, really beautiful. I mean, I'm obviously a sucker for Cartier. All their like new Privé stuff is awesome. The only problem that I have with those new Tour 2s is that they really got too big. And it's my same complaint with every one of the new, all of their new Privé listing or releases. They're all just like a little too big, and they lose a little bit of the elegance for me. But super, super cool design.
A Piaget Governor. I wonder what that is.
Let's look, because I want to know too. All right, my choice for my watch of the year. Here it is, Governor. Interesting. It's a limited edition piece. Cool. Okay. I've never seen one of these in person, but it looks very. I mean, it looks. Oh wow, cool. The Perpetual looks exactly like the AP. What is it, 2557 or whatever?
Yeah.
The Quantium. Yeah. Super cool.
Super classic.
Nice. It's so funny to
like
see, especially from that time period, like the mid to late 80s, where there were so many brands who were basically making the exact same watch and just putting their own logo on the dial. But awesome. Yeah, that's fun. I love finding that kind of stuff, and especially this one at $6,000.
David asking about the 70s trend, whether it's going to stick. I don't think any trend ever really sticks. I don't, because I think things are always in motion, and people are always looking back. And I think they're always looking back about 20 to 30 years.
Okay.
Like there's always that 20 to 30 year look back, and that's like the hip retro stuff of that particular era.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is what was popular or what was unattainable when either you were a kid, you were in high school, or you were just starting out. Like it's what I always, I'm a big car guy, so I always think about, like what was my poster car, you know what I mean, growing up, and that's generally what, like, when you make a little bit of money and you hit a certain age, late 30s, early 40s, whatever it is that you can actually spend on it, you go back to that time frame. So that I guess that makes sense.
Isn't that why like Testarossas are now actually worth money? Whereas I remember back in the early 2000s, I knew a guy with a Testarossa and he could not give that thing away. I'm serious. Like it sat out front. He was a farmer and he owned a very big, successful blueberry farm in the town I grew up in. And he had a DeLorean, and he had a Testarossa, and he had a bunch of fun stuff.
Ah, okay.
And
sorry, keep going.
His Testarossa sat out there with a for sale sign for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
He couldn't give it away. I remember everybody talking about it as like the worst Ferrari
they
ever.
were
And now they're expensive, right? So yeah, nostalgia.
All right, so Brendan, great question, because my watch of the year is the Berneron Mirage 34. So as soon as Berneron announced, that initial piece 2-3 years ago, like I was like smitten. It's non-round. It's super interesting. It has like a little bit of like a crash vibe to it. And then when they released or announced this smaller version, this 34, like I mean, I'm sorely tempted to try and get on a list and try and buy one because they're just so cool. And Rob, you want to show that guy?
Yep.
This is the lapis dial. Yeah. So there's the Tiger's Eye. There's some other. There's the more like champagne-y dial. There's a silver dial, whatever. And then this lapis dial. It's just this is killer.
I'm gonna be hot again, not because I want to do hot takes here, but I actually think this is better than a Crash. I love those hands.
It's so interesting, and also the I should try and get a movement shot, but I'm just very impressed with the company. They did so much work developing that caliber. It has a display back, so you're seeing it. Like it's just a very, very ambitious project, and they nailed it. Like for a brand new company, Sylvain Berneron like just came out of the gate so hot, and just I'm blown away by that watch. So that 34, that smaller one, is really, really my favorite release from 2024. I want to see what people had said, because people had asked if they had seen it and stuff. Yeah, impressive, great design. Yeah, exactly.
Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
And I agree with the Boss Mustang, especially the one with like the slats on the window.
Oh, God, you are so predictable. Scott saying the Louis Vuitton Tambor, quite nice. We haven't seen one yet.
I really want to.
I really do too.
When I see that like on Instagram on people's wrists and things, I think it looks really slick.
Agreed.
And I don't usually lean towards the integrated bracelet thing, but like that kind of in the same line as that Piaget, like I look at that and there's something different about that I'm just like, man, that looks good.
It's interesting. Like the vibe is very similar to that Piaget kind of, it's got that same kind of like 70s vibe to it. And speaking of 70s
why don't we
vibes,
talk about something that is old come new again, as we like to do, and show off one of my favorite releases of the year, which is the AP remaster.
Super cool.
02.
If you haven't, go on. I mean, you're already on our YouTube channel, but look at our shorts, look at our videos. We just released a Gone in 60 Seconds earlier this week, all about this watch. So super, super cool piece. I'm very impressed by it.
It's so funny. Like maybe 2 months before this came out, somebody had posted. They said, the original AP remaster, which was that two-tone chrono, that came out in 2020. And when they released that, that was called the Remaster 01. And somebody was they posted that watch and they were like, this is the Remaster 01. Where is the Remaster 02? And I was like, what a good point.
Rob, just because they made an 01, that doesn't mean they have to make an 02.
Oh no, I've lost the focus. There we go.
You're good.
If somebody comes out and they're like, this is whatever it is, 01, then I very much expect there's going to be a follow-up.
Well,
there's got to be.
Don't want to disappoint Robert. Jeez.
This to me
it's so cool.
Is like 99% perfect.
So I agree. It is. From a design perspective, it is so unbelievably cool and so unique. I love it. It's too damn big. Put it on your wrist, Rob.
It's big. But first, before I do, look at the dial. Look at how those sun rays change color as I mess with the light.
So Kicks RX, this literally just went live on our site either yesterday or today, or maybe on Tuesday. Killer watch. This is actually the second one we've seen now.
So it fits.
It does. For me, it's too big. So I think, so this watch was inspired by a piece that, a reference that AP made
Put that on your wrist.
Six examples of back in the 60s, yellow gold, and it was tiny, you know what I mean? It was a 60s watch, so it was very small. Yes, this does fit mine as well.
Okay, Grant, it is not Plo-Profi. It is not like a Plo-Prof.
Well, so the thing is that this is nowhere near as thick as a Plo-Prof. It's far more elegant. You can wear it with a suit. This is made of AP's proprietary sand gold, which is like a weird in-between of white and rose. It's got like a little bit of like a pinkish hue to it. And then the dial, they call it a Blue Nuit dial, and it's all what it is here, Rob. Go back to the wrist cam so you can show it. Those slices of pie on the dial, they are individual little wedges that are separated by lines of sand gold. So like it's an unbelievably complex piece, with that crystal, with that extra facet over on the right-hand side that slopes away, the whole case slopes away down to the crown there. So just really, really interesting watch.
Yeah, it's a stunner. I mean, again, it's pricey, and I understand why, because it's really hard to make.
Well, it's super limited, too.
It's very limited. I would love to own this watch. I would wear the living daylights out of this watch if I owned it. I think it is phenomenal. I even love the strap choice.
I do, too. It's
this
perfect.
Like unpadded, unstitched,
but
matte
also
blue gator.
The texture of the gator with those big, those big scales or whatever the hell they call it. It like mirrors the dial so perfectly, and the color is matched so nicely. It's just, that was a killer release from AP.
What?
Nothing. I thought you had something to say. You were giving me that look.
Oh, I was just carefully putting it down because it's a fine timepiece. And I was looking at FP Wilson, great username. Didn't like this watch at first, love it now. And I think I always try to reserve my true judgment of a watch until I have put it on my wrist and held it in my hand, because I have changed my mind many times.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel
times.
like we say regularly that we reserve the right to change any of the opinions that we might express in the show. You know what I mean? Because it's.
I want to show one more watch.
Okay, go ahead.
That has changed my opinion.
Okay. Really?
I actually want to show this.
Okay, interesting.
Because this has changed my opinion of this watch.
Okay.
Yeah, although I think this is very different. I don't think this is the same as the regular mat. Have you gotten to see this really?
I haven't really played with it, honestly. So is the diameter smaller as well?
No.
Okay, so same diameter, but just thinner.
Yeah, a lot thinner.
I know it's a lot thinner, but interestingly, looking at it like this, visually, I would think that the diameter is also smaller.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
proportions are funny like that. They will mess with your head.
Totally.
If you get a watch, if you have two watches that are the same diameter, but they have two very different thicknesses or even different kind of shapes to the case, it changes how you view how that watch fits on the wrist. And the Mad 1, which I have here, the Mad 1 was obviously never designed, oh, it's spinning. There we go. Was not designed to be like a super high-end watch, right? Originally, it was a Miyota movement that he had modified and put into these cases and done his crazy Max Busser thing to, and sold to his friends. And now we have the Mad 1S, which is the slim. And so instead of having two discs here, we have only one, and he has switched to a Swiss movement. The Swiss movement part of it, I could take it or leave it. That doesn't change my mind as much as the fact that now the watch really fits better.
Yeah, I agree.
Like really, really fits better.
The blue is really nice. That kind of dusty blue is very nice as well. I like it, yeah.
Isn't it pretty?
It's still a novelty, you know what I mean? It's
100%, but it's also novelty price.
No, but I agree, and that's what I'm saying is before it was a novelty that like I didn't really care about, because it wasn't wearable for me. This, at least it's now wearable, it's still fun, it's still cool, so like, yeah, it's much better. This is a huge step up in my opinion.
I would wear this watch.
Really?
I would have fun with this.
Okay, cool.
100%.
Couple things from the chat that I want to call out.
Wait a minute.
I know.
You're calling out the chat?
Robert, when people say
what
things,
happened to you when you left?
When people say things, yeah, I have a kid.
New year, new Justin.
Exactly. So Scott saying,
Brendan.
thank you. Exactly. Yeah. Making
You're
my
right.
point for
There
me.
should be a Mad 2.
Oh my God.
It must be coming.
So Scott saying that the B1 by Toledano and Chan, he says it beats the AP at a much nicer price point. I agree. The B1, super interesting design. I love that new mop dial that they just came out with that is going to be released soon. It's basically a brutalist building on your wrist. Like, if that's what you're into, super cool. I
really want to see it.
I want to see it in person as well.
really
I don't know.
wanna
Has
see
anybody? Have you guys put one on your wrist or anything like that? I know that the first one was. I don't know if this newer one is a little bit smaller. I know it was quite large.
I didn't check out the dimensions.
Looks
for
like
any
a
of
real.
them, but
I mean, again, that's another incredibly unique, incredibly interesting design that I like fully appreciate. I don't know if I like it more than this AP, but I agree. Super interesting design. I would really like to see one in person. The other thing that I saw, Rohit asking if we've handled a Cubitus yet. He's reserving his judgment on that release until he gets to handle one in person. We have not seen one yet in person. I have spoken with many people who have. I have seen tons of photos of it on our clients' wrists and whatnot. Maybe I'll be surprised when I see it. I don't think I'm changing my opinion.
the hard part is that for you and I, it's going to be too big.
Oh, way too big.
Right? Because one, I don't mind a big watch, but it has to be the right kind of watch. Like, it has to be a watch that should be big.
Datograph
like,
or a Zeitwerk or
right,
something.
like, I'm okay with those because they can't make them any smaller than they are. I'm okay with a big Panerai because historically it should be a big watch. You know, I'm okay with...
You like Panerai?
Now and again.
You dabble?
I dabble.
Okay.
I'm okay with a big Pilot. It's big in the name. Like, it is as advertised.
Sure.
But that watch, to me, I look at the 5711 and the 5811 and the 3700, and it's like, that's what that watch is supposed to be. And maybe I'm too stuck in the mud, but that's my own thing. So
again, go back on our channel. We did a full hour on the Cubitus, and things got quite spicy. It was a lot of fun.
We did.
But, yeah, I do want to see one. I am looking forward to when we have one here. I'm sure we'll have one in the near future. But it's just not for me. For a whole host of reasons, I just don't think it makes sense from the price point to the size to, many other things. So
it is expensive. It is expensive. Okay.
Let's go to our next question here. What was the watch that got the most wrist time for you this year?
This is a quick one.
For both of us, yeah.
So,
I feel like everybody will know.
For me, it was my 3940. It's funny, one of my colleagues upstairs recently commented, he was like, wow, one, he liked the strap because I changed the strap on it. And he was like, you haven't worn that much recently because for the past, like, maybe month or two, I have been wanting to make sure the trapeze got some wrist time. So I've actually been wearing the trapeze a lot because it had gotten relegated to the box. Like a watch that I wore almost all the time was replaced.
Yeah, you wore it all the time for like 2 or 3 years.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and still I wear it and it's like, man, this is my watch.
Yeah.
I love it still
so
to
cool.
this
I love
day.
that
I
watch
still
as well.
love it.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me how much and I said 50,000 because I don't want to sell it. But this, it's hard to beat this when I open my box. It's hard to beat this.
Sure.
And I still, every time I put this thing on.
Of course it's hard to beat. It is, when I think of classic Patek Grand Comp, like I think 3940. It is perfection.
I feel lucky to own this every time I put it on.
Sure.
And to me, that is the pinnacle of what we do here.
Yeah.
Is like any kind of pursuit of an object or a thing. I think if you can get to that point where you're like, man, like one of my guitars at home, every time I play it, I feel lucky to own this thing. Like that to me is the ultimate. Like it's like, that's it, I've arrived.
We'll see how long the feeling lasts for, but
I've had this since.
No, I know. You've had it for a long time.
23?
Yeah.
I think I did this in like spring of 23.
It's coming up on 2 years actually.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, rightfully so. That's an incredible piece.
So sorry to be boring.
I don't blame it. Well, I'm gonna be boring too. I mean, here you go.
I love it. An Explorer 1. That's the 39, right? The 11-4270?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think that's the 39. No, that's the one I have. That's a 36.
I think you had a 14270. Well, yeah, no, you're right. That is.
I have an 11 because I've got the
right.
solid end links.
I'm an idiot. Okay. So mine also boring. My Royal Oak. So it's just perfect.
Which is so funny because you keep thinking about trading this.
I have. Well, so I did a lot. So I haven't added anything to my collection, like anything serious to my collection in a while. I've like picked up, some like random, like my Studio Underdog and just like random stuff like that. I haven't added anything special in a while. And earlier in the year, I got really itchy and I almost traded this multiple times. And every single time I almost traded it, I put it on my wrist and then it lived there for like a month, the next month, and I just wasn't able to pull the trigger. I honestly, I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't think I'm ever going to trade this now. It's just, it fits my wrist so well. I found myself this year, I have a 1016 Explorer as well.
Nice one.
A great one. Yeah, no, it's amazing. I love it. That was kind of my piece that I would wear. Like that was my bang around piece that I would just do anything and everything with, which I still do on the weekends or like, when I was out, when my daughter was born, that's what I wore. But like I found myself wearing this a ton, like shoveling snow or like, for real, like gardening, you know what I mean? Like it was just one of those things. It's so easy and comfortable to put on. And I've owned it for so long and it's like, it's so not precious anymore, even though it's still really special and I still love it so much. It's not precious anymore. So like, whatever, if I get crap on it or, if whatever, like it doesn't scare me to wear and like.
'Cause it's your watch.
It's just my watch.
It's
so
your watch.
This got a ton of wrist time. It's just comfortable. I don't have to think about it. It looks good with a t-shirt, a suit, whatever. So like, it's good.
What's
I love
the
it.
reference on that again?
Oh, you always do this to me. This is.
Because it's not a 14790.
No,
we thought it was
4100
4100.
ST. Yes, 4100 ST. I thought it was a 14700 for a while. And then I opened it up and looked at everything. And 4100 ST. So really, really
Sick
cool.
watch.
I love it.
I love the 36 mil. The slim like that. It's so good.
It just fits amazing. David Houston asking Rob, any downside of the 3940? Patek Perpetuals are grail worthy, but service and setting if you have a rotation scares me.
So I haven't serviced it yet. The Patek 240, the caliber that's in there, is probably the greatest movement they have ever made. We generally, in terms of like what we see as the shop, we don't see many of these come in unless it's been many years since they've been serviced and they're just not running well. And usually then it's just a cleaning and they're great. In terms of setting it, I don't always set it. And then I did set it when I started wearing it again because I like put it back on again the day after New Year's when we came in and I set it wrong. But it doesn't matter because it's not like an IWC or a Jaeger where it's pre-programmed and you can screw it up. Like you can just push the pushers on the side until you get it right. So yes, service costs will be expensive because it is a complicated watch. But to me, it's like, if you're going to own something like that, you want to be prepared to take care of it.
Yeah,
you
pay the cost to be the boss.
Right. If you're going to buy a Ferrari or a Porsche, you're not going to take that to the Jiffy Lube for an oil change, right? Like it's just, you're going to take care of that because it's a serious machine.
But you also, like you're saying, you need to go into it with eyes wide open, knowing that this is this is not delicate, but this is a complicated piece of engineering that does require a certain level of expertise to work on.
And I've worn it all the time, and it runs beautifully.
Actually, funny question: have you serviced any of the watches that you have in your collection right now? We just lost the wrist cam, guys.
My Explorer.
Did you?
Was serviced.
Really?
Yes.
When you owned it?
Yes.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, we did. I did need to do a cleaning on the Explorer.
Okay.
Because that started running very fast. It was like a good 15 seconds a day. So like I would notice over a couple days that it had like gained a minute. So that had started running fast and the winding felt weird. So like I did get that one cleaned.
I was just thinking that I haven't done any in my current collection. Obviously that titanium Le Mans Chrono, that Blancpain titanium Le Mans Chrono, beautiful watch, but I think it spent more time in service than it did on my wrist.
I think that is a delicate movement because it's very fine, but it's also like, some watches just have issues.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know. But
I think it got sent to Blancpain though, right?
And
then it was...
Well, it went, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, then it was fine, and at that point I was tired and done with it, and I moved on.
Like daycare for a child.
Mark also said that he just ordered the Studio Underdog Watermelon, which that's going to be cool. I wanted that one. I couldn't get it, so I have the blue, that bright blue dial with like the sand color. Cool pieces. Great bang around. Very fun. Very fun. Ask me how many times I've worn it since I bought it, but that's okay.
It is sad to see the Oban almost gone.
I know. We gotta.
That is disappointing.
That's a problem, actually.
Oban, if you're watching, we are available and cheap.
Diageo, if you're watching, yeah, we're here. We work for free. All right. Course Light. Producers want.
We're not that cheap.
All right. So, final kind of like big question that we kind of put out there. What was your favorite watch that we sold here at EWC this year?
Why don't you talk about yours while I pull it up?
Okay. Well, I got to pull mine up too because ours.
No, I'm going to pull yours up.
Oh, you're going to? Okay, awesome. So this was earlier this year. I have a client, a really, really excellent client, good friend, who I've worked with for years now, who has an incredible collection, and I thoroughly enjoy working with him. He decided to move a really, really special Voutilainen, so a Kari Voutilainen. It is the retrograde date, and it's the Night Sky edition. So this was a like a limited run of the retrograde date model. They did 8 pieces, and each of those 8 pieces, the owner basically was able to work with Kari to design a dial to their own taste. And so my client created this, or worked with Kari to create this like absolutely unbelievable dial. You got it? Okay, cool. Just like absolutely stunning piece. If you guys want to go to the wrist cam for us to show that guy off.
We have to show these this way because they're sold.
And part of the reason why this piece is my favorite as well, like beyond just how stunning that watch is, I bought it from a really good client who I love working with, and then I sold it to another one of my clients who I also really enjoy working with. So like from start to finish, it was just a really awesome experience. I got to buy and experience a really, really beautiful, really interesting, really rare Kari, and then was able to move it on to a client who is like over the moon thrilled with it. He wears it, he loves it, and was as excited about the piece as I was. So, you know, a shocker that like a piece that has like a crazy design element is what I'm into this year. But that was such a special piece, and something that I mean, unless my client sells it back to me, I doubt I'll ever see it again. So just really, really, really special watch.
You know what else was really cool about that?
What?
Is it was not the usual Voutilainen that we see. You think of Voutilainen and you think of guilloche on guilloche on guilloche.
Guilloche on guilloche on guilloche. Yes, correct.
Guilloche on guilloche on guilloche.
Oh, there you go. Okay, nice.
And this was not that.
No.
This was like this interesting piece of art that was, you know, I've never seen
a Kari Voutilainen dial that looked like that.
I don't know if
and
I've
I
ever seen
thought
as much
that was super cool.
depth on a dial, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where every single, you had all the different elements with the planets, the stars, and then there was the retrograde that was integrated into that. Like it was so unbelievably complex. And it's an interesting complication as well, that retrograde date and the way that it like slowly goes back. Yeah, super cool. So that was just a monster piece. So that's my favorite of the year.
Yeah, I like that. That was good. So
Oh, thanks. Rob approves of my pick. Good.
it was a good watch. It was very cool. So this is a tough one because the Instagram crew asked me like, what's your favorite watch of 2024? And I actually picked the Patek Celestial that we have, the rose gold black dial, because we've had that watch in, I think it was platinum.
We did the platinum
Blue, right?
dial,
And
yes.
it did not move me at all. I really was like, that's cool, whatever, and I moved on. But then this rose gold black was like, man.
Yeah, I was surprised.
that
I was
is
surprised
really
when you said
stunning.
that was your favorite one of the year.
I don't know why. That was like the first time I really thought like, man, that would be cool to own and wear that every day and have like a little slice of like the sky and
Would
the
you
heavens.
ever set it so that the sky chart was actually correct?
I mean, no.
It would be. I mean, it would be cool to have a piece that can do that. It's like the things, the watches that have, sidereal time
Or a Terra Luna.
Terra Luna. My God, you need a PhD to set that watch. But yeah, no, are you going to show a photo of that one too, or no?
No, I didn't pull that up because that's on the website.
Okay,
that's still available. So the problem is that Justin said favorite watch sold by EWC, and we haven't sold that yet. So whoever's watching that's like, man, that is a nice watch, you're in luck. It's still available. But thinking about what we sold, I actually went with, and you thought I was going to go reverso Art Deco, and that would be my honorable mention.
I did.
But I actually
Oh,
went
you picked 3? Jesus.
with the Ferrier Onyx dial double spiral Gallet tourbillon.
I'm also shocked by this pick. Not gonna lie.
Why?
I don't understand. I mean, obviously this is an incredibly impressive piece. I don't know. I mean, a hidden tourbillon is such a rich guy, if you know, like kind of move, which I respect. Like anybody that has what is the Patek 5101 and this,
Every Patek tourbillon until they did that
true.
repeater.
Yeah, you're right. I respect somebody who has a tourbillon just for themselves. You know what I mean? They have a useless horological complication that no one else can see, and they're the only one that knows it's there. Whatever. I respect that. I don't know. I didn't expect you to pick a Ferrier. The Onyx dial on that doesn't have the same like luster and depth that I expect from an Onyx dial. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh,
I don't.
I loved it because it was like that inky black, like deep, like you could fall into it. It was like, it was what Moser wanted to do with the Vanta Black. But I think the Vanta Black is tough because all you do is get reflections, and so every time you look at that watch, you just see your own ugly mug staring back at you.
With Vanta Black, Moser wanted to make the blackest material on the planet. You don't get reflections?
Yes, you do. If you get that watch, maybe it's the crystal, whatever, with the Vanta Black, to me, it doesn't work. But that Onyx dial had this richness that the Vanta Black doesn't have, but it achieves the same thing of like the emptiness of space on the wrist.
It's not even that I don't like that watch because I really like Ferrier.
The tourbillon is for me.
I've said that honestly, like Ferrier is one of my favorite independent manufacturers. I love the mix of classic, but advanced enough, like somewhat avant-garde. They do like very, very subtle, slight, interesting design, tweaks and things, with their dials and with, like the date aperture on the Sport Auto that kind of like has that slope to it and everything. Very, very cool. That's hilarious. A haute horology mullet, business in the front, turb party in the back. Love it. But I don't know. It's not that I disagree with your choice. I just did not expect it from you, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was a remarkable watch. It sold immediately.
What was the price point when we had it? Because I think that was like a $200K watch new, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, they're very expensive. It was about half.
Okay.
It was about half price.
Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe just under half. But it was, and in my opinion, if you're spending like ballpark it at $100K on a watch, that's a killer way to spend $100K in my opinion. But
it's my kind of watch because I don't mind having a tourbillon that's on the back and just having this super slick. It's like buying a repeater. It's like buying a Patek repeater. It's exactly the same in my opinion.
Nothing like it. Are you kidding me?
Well, but it's that same idea of this looks very simple, and to the average person looking at it will be like, that's a watch. But if you're a watch guy, you're like, wait a sec. That's not just a watch. That's something more. And I like that. I like it to be.
I as well. I like something that I know is special. I don't care if anybody else knows is special. But interesting. I just thought it was a very interesting choice. That's a pretty deep cut from you, which I like.
I'm glad I said
Wow, Robert has some depth, everybody. Who knew?
So I missed our halfway point. If you are just joining us, thank you. Please like and subscribe while you're sitting here on our YouTube page. If you hit the little bell icon, you'll get notified for when we're going live and for when we're posting other videos. We're talking a little bit about like a 2024 year in review. We're talking about some of our favorite watches from the year, some of the stories that were worth noting, showing some of the new stuff we have here, which I think we should maybe show a watch or two next.
I was going to say,
we
let's
haven't
go
shown
into that
a watch in a while. Do you want to pick one? Because I think I did the last two.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to talk about this. You know, this obviously was not technically new this year, but
it ties in.
But there was a new version.
You can make a self-balancing two-wheel vehicle out of this.
So
that's a segue for those of you playing the home game.
If you're not familiar, this is the white gold Le Mans Daytona, which was released in 2023.
No. Yes, sorry, 23 to 24.
See how you are? So 2023, white gold Daytona released, celebrated the 100th anniversary of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And our big discussion was whether or not Rolex was going to discontinue this watch after a year, because in our opinion, it didn't make sense for the brand to make a 100th anniversary celebratory piece 101 years after, or whatever, for the 101st year. So what Rolex ended up doing this year at Watches and Wonders 2024, they officially announced that they had discontinued the white gold version.
Which was huge.
Which was massive news. Honestly, I mean, I hoped they would do it. I didn't expect them to do it. And they announced that they were going to replace it with a yellow gold version, which, might sound lame, but actually is a pretty huge move from Rolex. This is, I think, officially the shortest ever production run for a single Rolex model. The white gold Le Mans Daytona was produced for literally 1 year and then discontinued, and then now they're making the yellow gold version. So we actually have sold the yellow gold version. We just don't happen to have one in stock right now. But this is, I mean, what we have said about this watch is that it's basically a greatest hits of Rolex design cues, all wrapped up in one watch, with a really interesting complication, kind of reworked movement to boot.
This is the closest thing we are ever going to get to a modern day Paul Newman. Mm-hmm. This is it, folks.
Agreed.
And it's funny because when this first came out, I was like, why are people going to pay? Why are they still paying $200,000 for this watch? Like, I didn't understand.
Oh man, I got it right away.
And somebody said to me, this is the closest you will ever get to a modern day Paul Newman.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, again, look. So first
I
of
get
all,
it now.
that
makes sense.
You have a full gold, either whether it's white or yellow Daytona. You have those the cues to the exotic dials, in the sub dials with the serif font and everything. You have a display back, which you don't get on anything else other than a platinum Daytona now, the newest platinum Daytona. And then you also get a 24-hour chronograph, as obviously as a nod to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So that's not nothing. That's not easy. That's not the left-handed GMT that just gets flipped around. That's not, the Bruce Wayne here on the table somewhere, where they just put a different color on the bezel. That's actually engineering that has to go into the movement to create a 24-hour counter for a 24-hour chrono.
Right, they did something different.
They did something very different. It's actually like a pretty seismic leap for Rolex. They don't do stuff like this.
No, they don't do limited editions.
That's what I'm saying. they don't do this kind of complication. Like they don't do funky stuff like that just for no reason. Like generally when you see them do something, it's a complication that can be rolled out to a lot of other things.
Like the Sky Dweller.
Right.
Although the Yachtmaster.
The Yachtmaster is, but that's also no more. Yeah, exactly. So.
And MW Finney with the $1 million question of will they discontinue the yellow gold, and I am waiting with bated breath.
I don't think so, man, because
really.
Well, so it's no longer officially a commemorative piece per se. This one is the commemorative 100th anniversary of Le Mans.
Does it still have the red 100 on the bezel?
It does. But I think Rolex has done enough there. They've kind of like crossed that T, they've dotted that I, where they can say the white gold was the commemorative one. We did it for a year. We discontinued it. We're gonna just make as many yellow golds as we can sell. That's my guess. We'll see what happens. I don't know. What?
Oh, Wolfgang's comment. Can you go up a little bit? I missed something. That's an interesting question from Sepang.
What?
What's each of your favorite watch nickname? What is your favorite watch nickname, Justin?
I don't know. I gotta think about that. Do you have one off the top of your head? I mean, to be totally honest, I kind of hate watch nicknames like the Bluesy, the Cookie Monster. I hate all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have one that I love.
Yeah.
Do you have one that jumps out at you? That's not an official name. That's actually like
that's a true nickname where it's like it doesn't come from somewhere else.
The manufacturer, yeah.
I gotta think about that one too. That's why I was hoping you had something because I didn't have anything
You threw
either.
me under the bus. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. No,
that's what co-hosts are for. That is an excellent question. I will have an answer for you by the end of the stream.
Do you want to go for one more new watch before we maybe talk about some other stories?
Yeah.
Go for it. You pick, because I did the Le Mans.
Yeah? All right. This is actually a 2024 release. Cartier has been killing it with the Santos game, in my opinion. Every
Grand
release.
P, good one. The Kasparov, that's pretty. That's a good one, dude.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'll just steal that because I am a fan of chess.
Oh no, Brendan, Evil Nina. Boom, done, all done.
Ooh,
I
or
love
the
it.
Clapton, but I'm gonna stick with Kasparov because actually the Kasparov is like one of my top 5 favorite APs of all time. So like, I can double down on that.
Yeah,
so anyway,
Nina was way hotter than Gary Kasparov, so.
Yeah, but he'd whoop her ass at chess. So there you go.
Oh boy! All right, continue.
Then it turns out that she was a prodigy or something. I don't eat my words. So Cartier's Santos game within the past couple years has been incredibly strong, both between the standard production releases and the LEs. And we just got, this is not on the site yet, but this is a 2024 limited edition in gold with this blue, dark navy blue enamel, beautiful blue metallic sunburst style, rose gold Arabics, blue strap. I mean, this, I still do not own a blue dial watch yet. This would be an absolute stunner blue dial watch to own. I
like you said, Cartier has done. I was gonna say the Santos the medium-sized Santos models that Cartier has come out with over the past couple of years have been like nothing short of stellar. You know, all the way from the steel black with that enamel, the yellow gold with kind of like that the red, the burgundy, like. They've done some really interesting things, and it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel derivative. Like they've, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. What's up?
What about the rewind?
The Santos rewind is so dumb as hell, but it's so cool.
That part of it.
Wolfgang, real quick. Evil Nina is a vintage Universal Genève. Just look up UG Evil Nina, and it is beautiful. And also Nina was also beautiful. So
there's also a Clapton and an Evil Clapton.
There is, yeah.
I love that this comes with a tang too. Like Cartier used to have the absolute worst deploy in the industry, and the fact that they've abandoned that and now do tang buckles to me is also like it's the smallest, dumbest thing.
No, dude. Both of my Cartiers that I have came on deploys, and I immediately traded the deploy out for just a standard yellow gold tang because they are the worst. They're so uncomfortable. But yeah, great. I mean, here you go. This is not a 2024 release, but that's another one right there. Like that's another really, really nice example with that, you know, again, the burgundy strap, like the texture on the dial, matching the cabochon, like.
Let's show that.
I've said it before, but
Look at that.
When Cartier gets something right, they get it so incredibly right, and when they get it wrong, it is so horribly wrong. But these are really special. They're great pieces.
As I think we mentioned last week or the week before, when you see the ruby cabochon, you know that this watch is platinum.
Yeah.
This is also a Santos Dumont.
Yep.
Talking
Dumont.
too fast. And this one in platinum with the red lacquer. Are you judging my pronunciation?
Well, you said
again?
Dumont, not
yet
Dumont. But
again.
that's okay. I am.
I said Dumont.
I gotta keep you honest,
The
buddy.
Santos DuPont.
The Santos Cafe Dumont.
And like the fact that they're doing these, not for a while, the Santos was like the biggest, you know, ugliest watch that Cartier made. And then they got away from that and they went back to like these beautiful mid-size, slick, slim, like this doesn't have to be a dress watch. You could wear this in any situation and I absolutely adore it. I love all of these. I like the rose gold with the cream is like an interesting thing because it's like a very monotone kind of thing, but I think these ones with the contrast, like the blue against the gold,
The yellow gold
red
blue
and the platinum.
for me is,
Yellow or
I mean,
rose?
it's no, it's rose. You're right.
I think it's
Rose blue. It's really beautiful. It's and it's almost like a greeny blue. Like
So,
I don't know, they're really special.
Hold on, hold those
what's up?
two. Hold those two.
Yeah.
Platinum,
Yeah.
Guilloche, red,
Yeah.
or rose gold blue with that like sunburst with the Arabics. Which way you go?
I mean, I'm always going with a blue. Like everything I own is blue. I mean, come on, like blue dial, blue shirt, like blue jacket, everything. I mean, it's a tough choice, really. I mean, the texture on this dial is really special. I really actually do like the classic Roman numerals.
Yep.
There's something about this one that pops.
Yeah, I'd
like,
take that too.
It's crazy to say that I would, you know, kick the platinum out of bed, but like this is just there's something really beautiful about this. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're really special pieces.
I agree.
Blue is a fashion choice.
Shut up, Adam. No one asked you.
If you're not on mic, you're not allowed to talk.
I like this
If you're not
rule.
turning on your mic, you
New
can't
rule. New rule.
talk. Talk into the mic,
We will.
or keep it to yourself. What's that?
I'll mute everyone else.
Producer threatening to mute us all of a
We've
sudden.
been threatened.
Interesting.
He's going to go back to intern Adam.
Why don't we talk
real
about
fast.
just real quick a couple of like the major stories from this year that kind of stand out?
I actually was thinking you and I need to do what was your most, either your favorite or like your most important watch story of 2024. Like what had the
Springing this on
biggest
me right
impact
now.
for you? And I think you and I might say the same thing, but I can change.
Well, I mean, I know what the most interesting, what I personally think was the most important, or you know, had the most impact, like the most impactful story.
So hold on.
Yeah.
Keep that inside. What do you guys think? Before we reveal our biggest story of 2024, what was your biggest watch story of 2024? And it could be a release. It could be a story / release, whatever you want it to be. But what is your biggest moment of 2024? And before we do that, I think we should show.
You want to go with the bling bling?
We should show this while everybody puts in their 2024 number one. This, we have had tigers before.
We have.
But not like this. This is the tiger to end all tigers. TBR, meaning we have the baguettes in the bezel, not the rounds. Because when Rolex does a gem set bezel, they will sometimes do two versions of the same watch. They will do an RBR, where you get round diamonds, and then they will do a TBR, where you get the square baguettes. And the visual impact of the square baguettes.
We've said it a million times, and we've had plenty of pieces that have come through with the round, you know, the round set, the round cut diamonds on the bezel. The square or the baguette is so much better. It is incredible.
This cloth is a piece of trash. It does
not
not work.
That is your favorite. That is your favorite brand's cloth. That is a Panerai cloth,
off of
Robert.
These watches. So we have the baguettes. We have a pave set tiger eye dial. I can't remember what they actually call it. We have settings in the lugs. We have settings in the crown guards. We have pave in the center links, and it even extends all the way to the clasp.
Insane.
I mean, this is it. This is, like I said, the Piaget was unapologetically obscene or obnoxious.
This is obscene.
This
I do love
10 out of 10.
We've sold this reference on the Oyster Flex, which for me is, I mean, whatever. This is ridiculous that we're talking about this, but like,
are you talking about wearability?
If I was going, if I was Mark Zuckerberg and I was going to blow a couple $100,000 on something like this, like I'm going to go with the Oyster Flex one. The pave on the center links is too much for me, but like I guess if you're going to go for it, like go for it, man. Like it is nuts. The real stunner on this one for me is that bezel and then that dial. The lacquer, the striped lacquer, intermixed with the pave diamonds, like. It's really special. It looks like a Rorschach test on, like, I don't know, what do you see? Like, my mother didn't love me. I don't know. It's a really
wasn't hugged enough.
Yeah. I wasn't hugged enough as a child. Whatever. Like, it's a killer watch. It's nuts.
When you have this on, you could not do anything except look at your wrist and smile.
Totally.
And again, kind of like my comment about like if you have something where you feel lucky to own it. Mm-hmm. That's right behind that is that every time you look at it, you smile.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a car or a watch or a painting or whatever. If you have that thing where every time you look at it, you smile, you win.
That's it.
You win.
You're right.
I don't care what anybody else thinks. Yeah. You win.
Yeah, and you shouldn't care what anybody else thinks.
All right.
All right, so I want to just run through a couple of the stories that people called out real quick. There's some that I forgot about. Some couple of you got it right. What the answer actually should be.
Wow, you gotta scroll a ways.
But all right, so David Houston, the relaunch of Universal Genève. I actually forgot about that.
I'm excited.
I am very excited. I love the Tri-Compacts. Was back in the day. That was like when vintage was huge. Before I was in the industry, that was what I wanted. I still want an exotic dial.
I would go Polar Rooter, man. Some of those old Polar Rooters are
super
so
cool. They're
cool
cheap
looking.
too.
And I think the fact that I'm forgetting his name, the Breitling guy. Who's the CEO of Breitling? Because he's running UG as well. He has a beautiful way of treating vintage reissues and like honoring the past while moving it forward. And I'm really excited for what he's going to bring to UG.
I agree. I think
that's going to be really
high
fantastic.
hopes. CF Auto.
George Kern.
CFA. Thank you. CFA Auto said the Bremont rebrand was a moment. Agreed. Not sure we need to talk about that. The Alternative Horological Alliance, super interesting. Agreed.
The what?
Impact TBD. That's the not Chanel. The Shapiro.
Right.
I can't remember. Yeah, that very interesting. We'll see what happens there. Rolex buying Bucherer, like that's crazy that was 2020. That was 2024. That feels like it was like 10 years ago at this point. That was huge. Cubitus, the accidental leak, and people thinking it was a joke or not true.
The fact that he pointed to that instead of the actual release is super interesting.
That tells you everything
really
about that
appreciate that comment.
Watches of Switzerland buying Hodinkee. Agreed.
Hoodwink.
I know, Hoodwink. That's pretty funny. Nobody said EWC buying Crown and Caliber, but fine. Zuck getting into watches. That's
actually
huge.
very interesting too, because that's not only permeating the watch sphere, but that like Bloomberg's talking about Zuckerberg and his watches. And like, that's a really interesting kind of thing.
And then Scott said the right answer, John Lennon's $24.99 resurfacing. And I think you agree with me that is the biggest that is the biggest story of the year.
That was the biggest for me because that was like, whoa. That I think is gonna revitalize the vintage watch market, and I think it could revitalize watches in the same way that the Paul Newman did.
So it's funny because on our list of stories, we also had Stallone's the auction, I think it was Sotheby's, right? The Stallone auction for the Grand.
No, because wasn't it?
Phillips?
It was Boutros talking about that, wasn't it? I think
because Jeff has it was Phillips because Jeff did it. So, anyways, the Stallone auction of the Grandmaster Chime that actually got him blackballed from buying pieces from Patek, but whatever.
I'm sure he's real
I know. I'm sure he really cares.
I'm sure he's real upset.
We had the AP by Cause, that whole thing that we talked about in depth, and then a number of the other ones that you said. But like Robert said, John Lennon's $24.99 resurfacing and potentially going to auction. We'll see what happens. You know, what Yoko and Sean Lennon
right, it's getting
decide
returned
to
Yoko.
Yeah.
Right, like Swiss authorities decided that it's going back to Yoko, and
but I think beyond, even more so than Paul Newman Daytona, I think that the Lennon's $24.99 has more cultural significance and draws a wider audience than Paul Newman's Daytona did. Like, it's John Lennon. There's a there's a Beatles connection.
Right.
There's a Newman Daytona is a special piece. It's rare. It's beautiful. It's expensive. It was-ish. A $24.99 is like 10 steps up from.
I mean, that's a $1 million watch. Regardless of who owns it,
correct,
right? Like, that's a $1 million watch from square one. Right. Whereas in a Newman Daytona is what, 2 to 4, depending upon which reference,
how nice
yada, yada, yada.
Et cetera.
So like that, from 2 to 4 to 17 million was like, oh, that was a big deal. And now we have something that's $1 million to start when it's Tiffany signed, right? So like when it's Tiffany signed and owned by John Lennon.
But even beyond that, like, beyond all of that, the story of it, the fact that
intrigue.
Well, not even that. The fact that that was the last gift, the last birthday gift that, you know, Yoko gave it to John for his birthday months before he was assassinated. Then, like Robert mentioned, all of the intrigue afterwards, where it, you know, ends up with his chauffeur, and then it like disappears, and then all of a sudden goes through the Swiss courts and comes back. Like, it's such an interesting story. It has so much cultural significance. What are you giggling about? I think that is the biggest story of the year. I'm very interested to see what happens and where it goes. You're so gone right now.
I am. I thought that was funny. No, I am, because I agree with you. If she puts that up for some kind of charity auction thing like what they did with the Newman, it will be so huge in all the best ways, I think. If it goes back underground and they just keep it for a couple years,
I hope they do.
It's also great.
I hope they do.
I think either way, it is going to be absolutely amazing. So I think it's good news either way, and I'm glad that it's been found and that it is kind of in the public discussion.
Yeah, it's in the public
I
realm
think that's the best.
David
that's the
Alves,
best part
yes.
of
What
it.
do you have?
Can I call out the biggest story of this comeback stream with Justin?
Go for it.
That nobody has mentioned the trust fund.
Oh, you're killing me! I thought that at like 55 minutes. I was like, hey, no trust fund.
No trust fund jokes.
Loose Tooth isn't on the stream today. I thought I was going to get away with it.
Oh, Mr. Paradigm's been back, by the way.
Oh, nice.
He was busting my chops last stream.
Yes.
I
See, I
seen him
wasn't here,
today,
so thank you for doing it
But
for
on
me.
on the one with Tony, he had some good comments.
Love it.
So.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I missed you guys. I missed doing this. This is a blast. Really excited. We got some big things planned for 2025, so stick around. Yeah, I don't know. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Diageo and Oban, if you're out there, get at us for a sponsorship opportunity.
Somebody mentioned
See you guys
Lefroy.
later.
I'd be good to go that
Lefroy's
way
fine
too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
Have a